What it is, we back. You already know who it is, your boy 100. And this video is kind of random. I just typed in a random phrase in the search just to see what popped up. And we about to just find out what's happening. This is 25 bizarre facts about each US state. This is part one. And looks like there's two parts. Hopefully Georgia is in part one.
Zaxby's new signature sandwich is
some of that goodness gracious.
Hopefully.
My goal was to lose 32 pounds. I have lost 36 as of today.
I'm here to go through every U.S. state and provide the bizarre things about them. Of course, we only do lists of 25, so this will most certainly be a two-parter. Ready to travel coast to coast in search of weird facts? I'm Mike with List 25, and here are 25 bizarre facts about each U.S. state, Part 1.
Good beats.
25. Alabama. Senator Dixon Hall Lewis was an Alabama Democrat and the heaviest member of Congress in history,
Dixon Hall Lewis.
weighing in at 500 pounds. He served 8 consecutive terms before dying in 1848. The Senate made him a special seat, and his carriage had heavy-duty springs installed. 24. Alaska. With unusually long summer days, Alaskan farmers can grow some crazy big produce. In recent years, they've been able to produce a 35-pound broccoli, gross, a 65-pound cantaloupe, and a 135-pound cabbage. 23. Arizona.
I don't like how my dog said gross to the broccoli though. Broccoli fire, big dog.
There's a castle built in Arizona near Phoenix by a man named John Gully. What's perplexing about this castle is that he built the entire thing by himself over the span of 15 years. Moreover, he abandoned his wife and daughter to do it, and no one knows why. Later, after his death, his wife and daughter were contacted by his lawyer saying they now owned the castle. 22. Arkansas. On the last day of 2010, 1,000 blackbirds fell out of the sky, dead in Beebe, Arkansas. Authorities had their theories of why it happened, from high winds to stress-related trauma, but couldn't figure out anything conclusive. 21. California. In 1859, San Francisco was home to the first emperor of the United States, Joshua Norton I, or so he claimed in the Bolton newspaper. The editors published it as a joke. Still, he paraded around the city pretending to be the emperor, and many began to play along, giving him free meals at restaurants and listening to his comical proclamations. He even made his own currency. 20. Colorado.
Did you know, bro, that a lot of these people that you think in the back in the day was white were like black? Pictures are black and white, so you can't really tell people's like they're like race sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Some people you really can't tell what race they are until you actually see the skin color. You know what I'm saying? It's called whitewashing.
Colorado. Denver International Airport had a 32-foot blue Mustang sculpture installed in 2008. Officially, its name is Blue Mustang, but locals have another name for him, Blucifer. Why? Well, first off, it killed its sculptor, Luis Jimenez, after part of it fell off and severed his artery. With its glowing red eyes and fierce demeanor, many believe it's demon-possessed. 19. Connecticut. Once belonging to pioneering neurosurgeon Harvey Cushing, 550 human brains inside of jars were passed on and given to Yale University.
What?
A custom-built room in their medical library was made to house the brains. 18. Delaware. A Delaware man's dying wish was for $10,000 to be dropped over the town of Lewis, Delaware from a helicopter, and a year after his death, they made it happen. The money was made up of denominations of $5, $10, $20, and $50. It literally rained money that day. 17. Florida. Oh, Florida. We all know you're full of weird and crazy things. In this case, Republican rich workmen tried to have a 1989 law banning dwarf tossing in bars repealed, saying it limited employment options for little people. 16. Georgia. On New Year's Eve, roughly 4,000 Georgians head out to Tallapoosa to play games, listen to music, eat food, and watch a taxidermed possum named Spencer drop from a building as a countdown for the new year. This possum drop tradition was started in 2000 and has since blown up to be a huge event. Take that, New York.
Who is doing this?
15.
What city
Food,
is this?
roughly $4,000 repeat. 16. Georgia. On New Year's Eve, roughly 4,000 Georgians head out to Tallapoosa to play games, listen to music, eat food, and watch a taxidermed possum named Spencer drop from a building as a countdown for the new year. This possum drop tradition was started in 2000 and has since blown up to be a huge event. Take that, New York. 15. Hawaii. Though the United States was born out of rebelling against the English monarch King George III, leaving a lasting culture against monarchies, Hawaii is the only state in the Union to have a holiday celebrating a monarch, King Kamehameha. 14. Idaho. No one really knows where the word Idaho comes from. Before it was a state, it was called the Colorado Territory. Politician George M. Willing put forth the name Idaho, saying it was a Native American word for gem of the mountains. He admitted later that he made the whole thing up. Because of that, Congress initially shot the name down, but later it became so popular with the locals, they decided to officially name it Idaho in 1863. 13. Illinois. In Chicago, Hull House has long been rumored to be haunted, but things took a turn toward the bizarre in 1913 when word spread about the devil baby living there. Locals from far and wide grew fascinated with this story of a baby that spoke all sorts of profanities and had cloven hooves for feet. 12.
I'm sitting on a green stage where they can put anything they want behind me later, so maybe you guys...
12. Indiana. In Kokomo, Indiana, some residents have complained about a strange noise that gives them headaches. Reports began in 1999 and described it as a low, persistent grumble that would only go away if you left town. Others had more extreme symptoms, like diarrhea and nosebleeds.
Jesus.
Of the 45,000 residents, only a handful of residents have been hearers to the hum, and scientists say they aren't imagining it. 11. Iowa. In Riverside, Iowa, there's a monument that reads, Future Birthplace of James T. Kirk, March 22nd, 2228. When local Trekkie Steve Miller read Making of Star Trek in 1968, it said Kirk would be born in a small town in Iowa, but didn't specify which one. Like a boss, Miller proposed making Riverside the town at a council meeting. His motion passed unanimously. Since then, the town radically became Star Trek themed, and in 2009, it was recognized as Kirk's birthplace in the Star Trek remake film starring Chris Pine. 10. Kansas. In this state, on Highway K90.
My mom used to watch Star Trek like a mug back in the day. She had Star Trek plates. I broke one year, and then I didn't get nothing for my birthday.
6 between the Bentley and Mays Road exit right outside Wichita stands a tall tree considered a monument by locals. If you honk at it, you'll be granted good luck, or so they say. Locals love the tree so much that when it was threatened to be torn down in the 90s, they banded together to save it and won the fight. 9. Kentucky.
These are some weird facts.
We all know about rainbows, but an even more rare phenomenon is a moonbow. During full moons on clear nights, you can see the moonbow at Cumberland Falls on the Cumberland River near Corbin. 8. Louisiana. A Louisiana burial ground, famous for being home to psychic Marie Laveau, also has another bizarre tomb built by Nicolas Cage himself. Built in the shape of a pyramid, this white tomb has the inscription Omni ab uno, which is Latin for everything from one. No one knows why Cage built the tomb, other than assuming that's where he wants to be buried when he dies. 7. Maine. In the 80s, Christopher Knight drove away from home into the wilderness and never looked back. For 27 years, he lived a solitary life in the woods, surviving mostly by stealing things from local cabins nearby. He built an entire campsite and never once purchased anything or spoke to anyone during that time. After years of larceny, he was finally caught and arrested in 2013. 6. Maryland. The first Ouija board was created in an apartment building that now stands as a 7-Eleven. Elijah Bond and Helen Peters created the board, and even asked it what it wanted to be called. Bond grew such a close relationship with the board, his tombstone was made into one. 5. Massachusetts. In Gloucester, locals grease up a 200-foot horizontal pole extending from a pier with all kinds of slippery things, like banana peels, axle grease, and Tabasco sauce, among other things, all in honor of St. Peter. The pole is roughly 25 feet above the ocean, and contestants try to walk across it to reach an Italian flag at the end. 4. Michigan.
I seen that before. Supposed to be trying to walk slow, they fall. Supposed to be trying to run, they fall. Like, you're not gonna make it, big dog. 200 feet of slipperiness.
It was 1983 in Detroit, and juvenile delinquency was rampant on the eve of Halloween, causing 650 major fires in the area. This led to naming the night before Halloween Devil's Night. Things reached a fever pitch in 1984 when firefighters had to put out 810 fires, and officials sounded the alarm to clamp down on the practice. Since then, government officials created Angel's Night, with concerned Detroit residents patrolling neighborhoods together to staunch out the problem. 3. Minnesota. In the small town of Dorset, Minnesota, 22 residents casted their ballots and elected a 3-year-old boy named James Tufts as their mayor. Tufts' philosophy on leadership boiled down to being nice and no poopy talk. 2. Mississippi. It was 1942, and residents of Pascagoula not only had to worry about their boys fighting in World War II, but also a strange and eerie figure stalking the streets known as the Phantom Barber. As their population soared due to war material manufacturing, a mysterious figure broke into people's homes and cut pieces of their hair as they slept. 1. Missouri. During the Great Flood of 1993, 24-year-old James Scott purposely removed several sandbags from a levee, causing 14,000 acres of flooding and destroying many buildings in West Quincy. Why did he do it? He wanted to strand his wife on the Missouri side of the border so he could stay in Illinois and party with his friends. Scott was convicted and received the maximum penalty of life in prison. So, what are some bizarre facts from your hometown? Let us know.
They gave that man life? Now, when you say life, you mean like 25 years? Or do you mean life? Because that's crazy. But, yeah, those were some, as the title said, those were some bizarre facts. Something that, I probably didn't need to know. You know what I'm saying? I'm probably not gonna watch part 2 because I didn't none of those facts were like, you know what I'm saying? They said they dropping a possum in Georgia, bro. Anyway, if you like the video, you know what I'm saying, like it. Appreciate you, you know what I'm saying? Subscribe to Alpha Paul. My man got 2.5 million subscribers. Sheesh. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? Leave a like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? Help me out, help the channel out. Good algorithms and such. And I'll see you in the next one.